channel. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Kimberly.
And this is episode 8, and it's February 28th.
And today we actually have a very special guest. It was actually previously recorded yesterday. Brooke is not on that recording with my knitting friend Kate because why, Brooke?
I didn't feel good.
She didn't feel well. Don't worry, she obviously looks fine today. I know what it was. It was probably allergies. Because some little chickadee refuses to take allergy medicine. Parents, okay. Are you out there? Do you want to take the medicine that makes you not feel bad?
It doesn't work.
Interesting, because I take mine every day and I feel fine. Anyway, so yesterday we recorded with my knitting friend Kate. She's our special guest. She's a prolific test knitter, and she brought in a whole bunch of her test knits, and we got chit-chatting, and it was quite a long episode. I'm going to try to, tailor it down to, knitting content specifically, because we just had so much fun recording with each other. It was a lot of fun. Sadly, Brooke missed it, but she's back today, feeling great. The one thing I did want to mention, because yesterday, or you'll see coming up next, I showed the update of my Musselburgh or Musselburgh hat. First of all, I'll show it to you now even more. This was yesterday at filming. So I've obviously knit a whole bunch last night, so it's gotten farther. But just look, oh my gosh, I have to show it up close again. Beautiful. This is Sweet Dreams. What I did not mention is that it's Amplifiber yarn. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention, sorry, Amplifiber. This is Amplifiber yarns in our Sweet Dreams colorway. I just love it. Look at the perfect melding of this. Oh my goodness. And also, Amplifiber sent us a coupon code, so I'm going to put that right here. It's good through the end of March, and I'm pretty sure her next shop update is March 8th, so mark your calendars, set your timers, set all the alarms. But there's still stuff in our shop now, but just go ahead and use it during her update. And also, there are some things, like when I'm showing things, because I had to use I used my iPad to record, because we recorded on Zoom. It's a long story. I used my iPad to record. I don't know if it focused a lot when I was trying to show things. So anything that when I'm editing that is not focusing, I'll just pop a picture in so you guys can go ahead and see a better look. I don't know if I got this really great. This is a Whiskers and Stitches little stitch marker. Look, it's a Swarovski skull.
And that's made by another one of our really good friends, Holly.
Holly.
I love Holly.
Whiskers and Stitches. And actually, this moon is also hers.
I love Holly.
And you're going to see a whole bunch more that I'm going to actually talk to Kate about coming up next. And then that's it. So welcome to our interview with Kate. All right. Hey, everyone. This is my knitting friend. My dear friend Kate has so graciously joined us on our podcast. Unfortunately, my sidekick is not here right now. Cry. She's not feeling very well. That's okay. I'm going to take the reins from here. Luckily, Kate's here to be with me because I have never done one of these alone, and I'm not going to start now. So Kate's going to help me. And then Brooke will be back for the next one. So welcome, Kate. So I want to talk about a little bit how we met. So right now we know each other through our main knit nights and stuff. Now, did we meet firstly through knit night? I know we took a class together. We learned color work, right? Color work together?
Yes, we did color work together. I think we met because we both sit around knit needles as well. So when knit night started happening, you would come with Rebecca as well. So we all kind of just knew each other from multiple encounters.
That's right. We have knit night through our local yarn store, Needles in the Haymarket, which is amazing local yarn shop that we all love. And it's really local to all of us, really a central point. And they happen to have knit nights, and it was weekly, late at night, perfect for me coming in from the city. I could get off work. I'm sure you too, Kate, because you have to drive a little bit for your work. And I think it was actually Kate's idea. Wasn't our weekly knit nights from the pandemic your idea? I feel like you're the one that was like, hey, we should have our knit night virtually. And we're like, yeah.
Yeah, I think all of us, within a couple of weeks of being, in quarantine, we were all getting stir crazy already.
Yeah, well, we thought it was going to end, right? In the beginning, you're like, oh, it's going to be a couple weeks, no big deal. And then I think after about 3 weeks to a month, Kate, we all formed a group chat that we never really even had before from our knit night people.
Yeah.
And hey, here's our group chat. And then, hey, let's do a Zoom night. And then hey, let's do it weekly. I remember that was so cool. And we still do it every week.
Yep. And for a lot of us, it's our only social time all week.
Right, that's right. Okay, well, let's get right into a nice little intro. Thanks for joining me, Kate. Okay, so Kate, you guys don't know this, but she is, I would say, a prolific test knitter, I would say. And it's only quite recently that you started test knitting. I remember being on the same group as you for our test, like your first test knit ever. And then she's like bypassed me completely and is doing all these high-end, high profile test knits. And it's crazy awesome. So I definitely want to highlight that as we go through all of your whips and bows. So let's start off with bows. If you want to go first, Kate, because aren't you wearing one of your bows?
Yep. So this is the Tensia sweater, which is being released really soon from River Road Knits. The main color is Into the World, and it's Cypress. And then the contrast color is Queensland Perth in the Tasmanian Bay colorway. So it's a gradient. It's so it'll go like between this purple into the green, and there's different like shades that get mixed up. So it's kind of a little bit hard to see here. I'll show. Also, it's got a really, I love this where it's a beaded rib. So it's not a standard rib. It's got little bumps. Mm-hmm. And it's got the little colorwork details on the sleeve.
You're like, oh, the contrast color. I'm like, isn't that multiple colors? Because it's a great, fade of colorway. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So when I saw them together, like I had bought this a couple years ago in like late 2019 at a yarn store when I was traveling to Oxford. I just happened to pick it up, and then I ordered this when Into the World was getting rid of the color, actually. And then I saw them together. I was like, oh, that would be so pretty. So
it is really pretty. Did you really like knitting that one? Was the color work easy, and was all the like?
Yes, for the most part, there weren't a ton of rows where you had long floats. There were some where you had like 9 stitches where I caught it like in the middle at 4 or 5. I try and be really conscientious about also not catching the float in the same stitch. If I, for some reason, have 2 rows that are, have the same thing basically. So I'll try and catch it on 2 different stitches so that I don't leave a hole or you don't see anything like the float.
Never thought about it that way. I don't even know if I paid attention to that. That's actually good. So sometimes if you do catch it on the same place, does it like show more?
It can bulk up more, I've noticed. I think Marty may have mentioned that in class, but I've just reinforced it by when I've looked at my color work, I've been like, oh, I don't like how that's looking. So it evens out for the most part when you block. But yeah, I test knit size 1. I feel like I kept up with her deadlines because she had mini deadlines where it was like, oh, you should have the yoke done by this date. But I mean, it wasn't like hard, fast deadlines, but it was kind of like her recommended to stay on pace. And I actually need to complete the Instagram, pictures, and, she wants a Ravelry page as well. So, which is one important thing I find with test knit is to get the right pictures, which you mentioned before.
I think it's very important. I just feel like it's our duty to help them out with some pictures because I mean, what's the point of test knitting? I mean, we obviously give them, feedback and, help with edits and stuff like that, but if we can't provide them with great pictures so that they can showcase their design, I mean, like it's kind of half the point right there. Yeah. But you're really good at those pictures. Now I want to go back to, do you find it helpful when they give you those like markers, those mile markers, if you will, to like meet, or do you not like that? Do you want to have like free reign and just give yourself your own markers?
I do I don't know if I really have an opinion either way, because I found it was helpful to know that I was on track with what she expected. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it does create a little bit more stress in getting to the deadline. But also, I think it would depend on, most designers may not do that because, Rebecca, most of her test knits are like 3 to 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. It seems like so, but this one was 3 months. So, it's a little bit different and when I've done sweater test knits, it's usually 3 months. Mm-hmm. I think Rebecca gave us 2 for the Stepping Stones Cardi.
Oh yeah, quite a long time. Yeah, which was nice. For those of you at home, I don't think we said this, Rebecca is Raging Pearlwind. So that's who we're talking about. Rebecca McKenzie, our friend as well. We basically do every single test knit that she throws up there. We're like, yes, please. Before she even when she just utters the mentioning of a design idea, we're like, let us know. We'll be
Basically.
that. We get very excited, but she's amazing. So okay, awesome. Well, while you did your faux, what you're wearing, I'm gonna talk about my one and only faux, which is quite sad because I realized I'm like, oh, no big deal. But I podcasted 2 weeks ago and I've only had one. This is kind of sad, but oh well. But I have my February Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. I just call them that, but the pattern I use are the Crunkled socks by Kay Jones. But I love, see, it's hard to tell in this, which I didn't mind. I did it on purpose because I used a sock blank. So I had no idea what the color, I knew it was going to be a big jumbled mess of color. Like they weren't going to match. And so I thought it was a great idea to do the Crunkled socks. So they have like a nice textured, super easy to memorize. I think it breaks up the stripiness because you can kind of see more stripiness down here, but it breaks it up here with that stitch, which is really nice. And it makes the sock very squishy. I just love these, and I haven't even worn them yet because I wanted to show them on the podcast. So they've just been hanging on my wall, and I'm like, oh, I need to record so I can wear my socks. But these are the two different colors. Because like this is the first one of the sock blank. Then I came to this one. I love this one. This one's really nice. I did
super cute.
Thank you. I love them, and I love this pattern. I totally will do this pattern again. I did the umbrella toe, which comes with the pattern. So my first time doing it, the fit feels nice. I don't know about how it looks on my feet because my feet are weird. That's my own issues. Fits really nice, and it's actually quite fun to do because it's like every 6 or something, every certain amount. So it's not like just at the 2 sides. It's like evenly around. It's kind of cool how you decrease on it. And you only decrease sometimes. You're knitting for a long period of time too. It's really cool. So check out the pattern. That's what the toe comes with. I did a fish lips kiss heel with this, and I did my normal 64 stitch cast on. I always want to say inch when I'm like on this podcast. 64 inches. So 64 stitches. I do a normal 2x2 rib. I just like it. I don't mind how it looks. I think it looks fine, and I just like knitting that better than the 1x1. 1x1 drives me crazy. It just takes forever, but it does look really pretty. it just takes. I feel like it takes longer to knit or something. So yeah, I really liked how this turned out, and that's my only faux. Kate, do you have any more?
So I have my test knitting stack right here with me.
Yay! All right. So I asked Kate to bring because I don't know. You'd think during pandemic I would have test knit more, but I'm really not. Like I kind of hunkered down and just doing what I love. I don't want to have the stress of a deadline for some reason. You think it wouldn't matter. I don't know. But Kate, on the other hand, is like a test knitting machine. And she's actually done, which I've never done, Kate. You have to talk about this, about how you actually had one of your test knits. I don't know which one. It might have been the one you're wearing right now, but you had to submit a application like for a big time test knit and you got accepted, which I've never like done one enough to where I've like had to submit an application. I usually know them or something.
Yes. So River Road Knits, I don't know. I had followed her, I think from another design that I'd seen someone post about. So I started following her, and then she put out a testing call for this, and I am a sucker for color work yolks, like all day, every day.
They're so fun.
And so Yarn Pond is actually where she had the testing call. So I applied and I was accepted.
Oh, you went through Yarn Pond. I didn't know that. I follow Yarn Pond too. That's cool. I haven't done one there. I see a lot that I think I might want to, and I don't.
The one thing I'll say is there's no app. So it's all browser based. So that's the one thing that, or at least if there is an app, I don't know about it.
True. That's true.
I don't know how many applications she got, but I was accepted for it. So, and, I was happy that I did because, I got this out of my stash and then, it's pretty. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You use stash yarn, which I feel like a huge accomplishment when I use stash yarn, which is, I don't even know if that's saying much for me anymore. I basically have a yarn store, so it really shouldn't matter. But I feel so good because I'm like, yes, I'm using that yarn I just bought because it was pretty. I finally put it to good use. Especially the older stash, the better. Like I feel so accomplished when it's super old. I'm like, yes, I knew I would find something for this. I knew it. But yeah, what do you have? What do you have next to show us?
So you guys will have seen Kim's, but this is my Pitter Patter Caldana, and it's out of Wonderland Yarns, and the colorway is Glowingly. So I am a huge, and Kim knows this, pink fanatic. Like, If it's pink, I love it.
Anything pink comes across our Instagram feed for yarn, we're always pinging over to Kate. Kate, look at this pink. What about this?
Basically.
And that's by Raging Pro and Rebecca as well. It's the Pitter Patter Caldana.
Yep.
I think there was different sizes. Do you remember which one you did? I did the larger one.
I did the small. You know, I'm small.
You're also small.
I'm 5'1".
You guys can't tell, but Kate's super tiny next to me. So
no, it's true.
We're the same size right now. It's so nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm 5'1", so you know, I'm fairly, you know, don't want to make something huge because it's not going to look good on me.
Whereas the opposite for me, like if I have something too tiny, it looks like I'm wearing some like child size something. It's like the opposite or whatever. But and Wonderland yarns, I love them. I love their yarn.
Yeah, it's super duper squishy. I mean, I love it. And I have another, and Kenny. So Kenny is one of the people at Needles and Haymarket. I wasn't sure if I need 2 skeins of this because so the amount that it asked for, you know, what Rebecca estimated was more than what was in 1 skein. So I had Kenny put it aside. I was like, well, can you put it aside because there are only 2 skeins in the entire shop. And he put it aside, and I came back and he said, oh, don't worry about coming back, like about telling me to take it off hold. And I was like, you know, I'm just going to get the other skein anyways. He's like, yeah, I do. So Kenny is an enabler when it comes to yarn. All of us love Kenny, but he's such an enabler. Kenny
works obviously at Needles and Haymarket, but he's Marty's son, and Marty's store shop owner. It's like a family little business. They also have other people that work there that are also in our knit night. All right, what's next, Kate?
So this is my bomb shawl by Knit Boop. So her name's Yura, but on Instagram she's Knit Boop. So this is knitted wit in hard rock candy, and then this is Shirsty Cat in her BFL sock, and it's tea rose. This actually, I think this was the second test knit I ever did. The first, or no, maybe the third. I've been following her for a while, and she put a testing call. This actually, I don't know what happened, but somehow at the end, the lace got off. So I ended up finishing it, even though the lace chart, I did something. It wasn't Yura, it was me. I don't know what I did, but I absolutely love this. It's a fun shawl to wear.
I love it. You can't even tell it looks off. Let's get a little bit close up of the lace in the.
Okay. So yeah, it kind of got off here, but I also omitted some.
You can't tell. It looks great. I love this color. I love knitted wit and Shirsty Cat. Love them both. All right, what's next, Kate?
This is the Audacity shawl. It's by Transmutation Knits, who's Liam. The yarn is actually something that was brought to me from a friend who she went on a cruise to Peru. It was kind of between fingering the sport weight. And the pattern calls for fingering, and I talked to Liam about it. I was like, will this work? And he said, yeah, it should work. But I love the lace in this. Like, it was such fun to knit. And these little bits at the end, you had to, I'd weave in each end because you actually knit each of them and then bind off as you're going. So it was so much fun. And then the baubles, I did a crocheted type bauble instead of the knitted one, actually.
Oh, nice. That's gorgeous. I'm sure that took some time. That's like a lot of lace.
I think it took me 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez. It would have taken me a while. I mean, primarily because, okay, if I was knitting just that, maybe. But like I knit too many things at once. And I still think a lace, because I normally like to have like things where I can knit while I'm watching TV or when I'm having conversations with people or whatever. And I cannot do lace if I'm watching TV or talking to somebody else. I just can't, because I have to focus on the repeats or whatever. But because once you mess up, man,
Yeah, it's really hard to fix lace, though. I have done it. And once I get into rhythm with lace, I'm usually pretty good with it, and I love seeing it unfold. So,
Yeah, beautiful. I love it.
So, this is another one you guys might recognize. This is the Stepping Stones Cardi.
Ooh, I love that one. And it's like tweed. Is yours like tweedy?
Yes.
Love that.
So, this is another Raging Whirlwind. And the yarn was something I actually had in stash as well, though I ended up buying more skeins because I thought I wouldn't have enough. So it's Knit Picks, City Tweed, and Plum Wine, which I got on one of their sweater sales, which if you want to be economical, their sweater sales are great because if you buy 10 skeins of the same color and same yarn, then you can get a discount of 10%. So
well, and Knit Picks is already affordable, so that's great. I love that because sometimes like I love my hand dyed yarn like as much as I mean I have so much of it, but like if I'm gonna make a whole sweater in one color, it's just not economically feasible. Like I have a couple and I actually don't even knit with them. Like I have a whole set of hand dyed for a sweater's quantity, but it's like it's so much money I just put into that, and it's like what sweater is going to be good enough for this beautiful yarn that'll match perfectly, because you don't want to ruin that because you spend a whole lot of money on it, and some people just can't afford a sweater's quantity of yarn. I mean,
yeah,
of indie dyed yarn. I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, much deserved. They put a lot of work into it. However, it's just a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, people shouldn't be shamed either way. Like, if you want to buy indie dyed yarn, that's great. They deserve every bit because they put a ton of work into it. But if you can't afford it, then, you know, you knit with what you have. Or you knit with, you know, something that you enjoy knitting with. No shame.
Exactly. And that's why I actually found that the colorwork yoke sweaters are perfect for using indie dyed yarn, because you don't need to have a whole bunch of the same color for like your body, depending on how much colorwork is involved. Like it could be on your sleeves. Like my Sunset Highway I'm doing right now with only 2 skeins of one main color, because there's like so much color work, and of course I'm like ad-libbing, I'm adding in extra different colors for the cuffs because, you know, but that's how you can use up your stash of, you know, other colors that work together. I still have an indie dyed sweater, but you didn't have to spend a lot of money all at once on one colorway, which I think is great. That's like my goal is to like just make a whole bunch of color work yoke and use up my stash. And plus, when I do find a good neutral, or what I find to be, I think to be a good neutral, I'll buy 2 or 3 of that color, knowing I can use that for a colorwork sweater for a stash that I already have. So that's like a good thing too.
Definitely. I did want to mention, so at first I thought that, you know, I actually ended up doing the sleeves on this 3 times. So yes. So the first time, Rebecca actually modified the decreases because she was decreasing it down to a smaller amount than really I was telling her it was like getting kind of tight. You know, I didn't think she wanted it as form-fitting as she was getting it. Because you'll see, like, this is actually pretty form-fitting, but that's not what Rebecca was going for. She was going for more of this, you know, straight looking sleeve. And I posted in the group like, hey, you know, Rebecca, the decreases are getting kind of tight. If I'm going to keep decreasing, you know, it's going to be pretty tight.
Well, I think we should also mention that Kate was way ahead of all of the rest of us. Kate's all telling us about issues with the sleeves, and we're like, you're at the sleeves? we're not even there yet. So it's just, that's why, see, that's the bad thing about going, like being ahead of everybody, is that you are the one that has to rip back or whatever to fix stuff that you find, while the rest of us are like, cool, thanks, Kate. we already had it fixed for us by the time we got to sleeves. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that's one reason why I think before you volunteer to test knit, a lot of times you'll see like what skills they ask for. Like you shouldn't be test knitting a color work sweater if you don't know how to do color work enough to note something. Like, because the whole point of test knitting is that you're helping the designer.
And a lot of times though, the designer will ask for beginners because they want to know if their pattern is beginner friendly. Yeah. So a lot of times they'll do that. So just be on the lookout for wording of how they use it. Now, if they say, if you're a beginner, don't, like, just don't, because it's going to be a headache for you, because it's a test knit. So it's not a perfect design yet. That's what test knitting does. We help perfect the design. So if you're a beginner and don't understand a lot of things, and you don't understand if something's wrong, you're just going to keep going with it. instead of like stopping and saying, hey, this doesn't look right kind of thing. So that doesn't help anybody, and it probably will frustrate you and make you not want to do test knitting again. So her patterns are super easy to modify. I love how simple and very detailed they are.
Yes, definitely. Rebecca's patterns are very user friendly. Like, she is very good and understandable about different body types, which is why we love her designs. One more, which is the latest one and also has not been released yet.
Yay! Oh, I love this one.
Okay. This is the Dots hat and cowl. So this is another design by Knit Boop. So the yarn is Diamond Luxury Collection, and it's Baby Llama.
Ooh.
So it's a DK, and it's super soft and squishy. This actually was in my stash as well, from a shawl I made. So I had leftovers, and then I also bought needles out of what was left of the stock. So Kim has mentioned that Needles in the Haymarket has a clearance rack. So I had initially bought the shawl quantity off the clearance rack, and then there was a few left. So I was searching through my stash, and I found this, and I thought it would be cute. This actually, the contrast colors are hand spun from some of my first attempts at drop spindling.
Oh, cool. So it's like your own hand spun. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So this is my own hand spun. I cannot remember because I was gifted the wool by my grandmother. It was a rainbow kind of bat. UROS should be releasing this in the next couple months. So I love it though.
You want to give us a close up? You want to give us a close up of the like super? Get right up in there.
So Kim was talking about not liking 1x1 rib necessarily because it takes longer. So we actually got a choice with what kind of ribbing we wanted to do. I ended up doing a 1x1 twisted rib,
which takes even longer, I feel like. But those, I agree, because I have that on the collars of some of my sweaters. Like, it looks amazing. I love how twisted rib looks. It's just that, like, while you're knitting it, you're like, am I done yet? For me, I don't know. Because I want to get started with the rest of it. And I just feel like, I don't know, I mean, it shouldn't really take any longer than 2x2, but I enjoy 2x2 better. Yeah. I don't know. But it does, I love the way it looks. It's so pretty.
It does take up time though, but I prefer it for my socks, where I do 1x1 twisted rib.
Okay, so that's it for faux, right, Kate?
Yep.
Let's do whips. Okay, so I obviously have some whips, but only like a few that I've actually worked on. So I think I'm only going to show 3 because I have other like baby gifts, and so I can't show those yet because I don't know who watches this. So I'm not going to show those, or because I had those as faux too, but I'm not going to show those. But let's go. So how many whips do you have, Kate?
To show, I have 2.
Okay, cool. I'll go first. And I think I've shown, basically, I've already shown all these. I'm just going to show updated progress. Here is my Musselburgh hat, which I've actually heard called Musselburgh as well. So it's Musselburgh if you're from there, Europe, whatever. But here's my Amplifiber yarn in Sweet Dreams. I mean, look at how this is coming out. It's like a perfect blend. I don't know how, there's no pooling. There's no, I mean, it's beautiful. I'm so excited to wear this. So this is where I was at the last time we podcasted 2 weeks ago, and I've gone like this much basically. And I was gonna measure, because as you recall, I'm going to just use up the whole skein. I don't care how slouchy the hat it is. And I have to knit until I have 9 grams left, because that's how much it will take to do my decreases. Because with the Musselburgh hat, it starts at the top and then ends at another top, which sounds really weird. But then you fold it within itself to make a hat. I'll show you guys later because I haven't even done it yet. I've seen people do it, so we'll see. And it's so easy. And I normally don't like straight stockinette. I mean, I like it on my socks. But then I'm like, I get bored. But for some reason, this is not super boring. And I think it's because I only do it like when I'm doing other things. Like I'm talking to people or I'm watching TV and I don't even have to look at it to be knitting it. And I think the yarn has a lot to do with it. It's beautiful yarn. I love seeing all the pops of like different colors come up. I mean, there's so many different colors in here. It's awesome. It's gonna go with my hair so nice. And I got two whiskers and stitches, stitch markers. Here's my moon. And then I have, which I think you ordered this one, Kate, the skull. I got my little, it's like a Swarovski. There we go. Thank you. Crystal skull. There he is. You can kind of see him. But it's like on the snag list. I had a different one on here. I was talking about this at midnight. We're all laughing about it. How I got this in after I'd already started this project. So I already had another stitch marker on here. And I don't like to switch out my stitch markers if I've already started with the project, because I just feel bad for the stitch marker. Does that make any sense? Like, I feel bad. I'm like, I already started it. I can't, I feel bad for the stitch marker. I can't just like throw it away aside because I got something newer and better. Sounds weird. But then it kept snagging on my yarn, the one I was using. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess you're off. And I use my snagless, which she has both. She has like these, which you can use as a stitch marker and a progress keeper, and also the snagless stitch markers with like, I don't actually think you can see, it's like a wire. It's really great. But I love this. And it's also in my Scrappy Angel bag. So as I'm sure Kate's going to show her bags too, Angel from Scrappy Angel is having her update today. So by the time you guys are watching this, it'll have already happened. But I'm sure she'll still have some in the shop. And if she doesn't, and you have something specific you want, just DM her on Instagram. She loves to help and will get you something made right up. And she's just super, super nice. Just a great, great person.
We love Angel.
We love Angel. So this is the large retreat bag. There's also a small one, which is more sock size. This one can fit a whole bunch of things. And what's so great is that it's super soft, but the top is a wire frame. So it opens up like a tapestry bag. We call it our Mary Poppins bags, because it also fits so much stuff. So you can sit, it'll just sit upright like this with stuff in it. So you can keep it as like an open tote. You can close up if you have to go somewhere. I love it because I have cats. I'm sure Kate, we all have pets. They like the good, yummy, expensive yarn. So when I'm, using it, I'll leave it open. But then when I'm walking away, I zip that baby right up so that my cats can't get on there. But and then they also come with a cute angel stitch marker. I took mine off and used it. That's why mine's not on here. But she always has cute little angel stitch markers on hers as well. But yeah, so, and her update today has a lot of black and whites, the black and white print animals, which you guys would really like, and also Harry Potter. And we all know I'll be getting some of that. I'm so excited. It's like the Marauders map, I think, right, Kate?
Yep.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool the way she did it. She even made like the handles maroon to match. I mean, you guys will have to see it. But that's my first whip, Kate.
Well, I'll go ahead and show mine in my Scrappy Angel bag.
And that, which bag is that, Kate?
Hmm?
Which bag is that? What's it called? The blanket tote or something?
Yeah, I think it's called the blanket tote. It's her largest bag, and this is like a monster. But it's amazing. So what I have in here is actually a whole sweater, but also a whole sweater's quantity of worsted yarn. And if you experience carrying around this worsted quantity of sweater yarn, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. It really is a lot.
So what I have in here is actually a testing I'm working on. Mm-hmm. So Yura Knit Boop is doing what she calls the 27 sweater. It's actually based on the Bernie Sanders mittens that, everybody loves the meme from the inauguration. And if you want to see pictures of the completed sweater, she and her partner are both in their one. She just posted her partner's completed one today. So this is actually, it's a bottom up pullover, but you start with the sleeves, which is the first time I've ever done that. But you start with the sleeves and you put it on scrap yarn. So I've got my first sleeve here. I'm working on my second. And what I'm doing it out of is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, another first for me. And I really like it. If you are particular about scratchy yarn, it may not be for you, but I actually grew up in scratchier wool sweaters.
Really? See, I'm very particular to scratchy wool. I just can't. It's kind of like also what our friend Lorelai, from Knit Night. She likes the super scratchy stuff, and she's currently obsessed with Let Lopey.
Yeah.
And she loves it, and she keeps talking about how amazing it is. So I happened to be in the store the other day. I'm like, at Needles in the Haymarket. I'm like, oh, here's some Lopey. Let me feel this. I was like, oh my gosh, it is super scratchy. So those that can handle it, that's awesome. I am not one of those people. I do like the shape of the sleeves on that too. It's like, I like how it comes to the cuff and stuff, and the cuff's long. I like that.
Yeah, it's 3.5 inches on the cuff, and then so she's making it more unisex. So the sleeves are pretty wide.
I like that.
So that you could knit it like she knit for her partner, and he fits well into it, and she does too. So I mean, it's nice because I don't think I've ever the increases. I just finished on this one, so this is where the increases stop, but I still have 6 inches roughly of knitting to go. A little bit under 6 inches, so a lot of it stops at like the bicep, which is how men's sweaters typically are designed from what I understand. So the colors I'm doing, so the main color is called Lava Heather.
Ooh, that is pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I love this color. It's a dark brown, but it's got like bits of red in it, so it adds some really good texture. So this one is Chestnut, then Cloud, and the last one is Camel Heather.
I like that one. That's a good tan kind of camel color.
Yeah, so I am enjoying it. I do kind of miss color work. I was like, I want to get to the color work yoke, but I'll enjoy the whole process. I always enjoy sweaters.
Okay, my next one are Damon socks that I'm making. I'm actually making some really great progress. I've already got the heel, which I use a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I'm starting the foot. So this is by using Ancient Arts yarns, and it is like a heavier fingering. I said fingering, but I keep holding it. I'm like, it doesn't feel fingering, but it's like a heavy fingering. So it's like weird with my gauge, and making my first sock for Damon, it's kind of helping, but I mean, I know when I go back to regular sock yarn, like the thinner stuff that I normally use, it's going to I'm still going to have to re-gauge and like measure it out, because this is a 64 stitch, which is the same as mine, but like I did a 72 for him, thinking because he's got a size 15 and he's a 6'4" guy, so I figured his should be bigger, and it was huge, and I'm like, this is not going to work. So I went down to mine, and I'm like, it still looks bigger than like even mine normally are, so it's just throwing off my gauge, which is fine. But I actually made it longer because I have all the yarn. The reason I bought this yarn is like basically a skein and a half. And he's got such large feet that I wanted to kind of like have plenty of yarn, so I didn't have to worry about like not having enough. And I said, okay, normally I wouldn't even make them this long. I went like 75 rows. I'm like, hey, I have the yarn, might as well make him some long socks out of it. I'm basically just gonna go and knit until like my length, or I think the Crazy Sock Lady said that she just looks up measurements of shoe sizes online, and that's how she goes off of measuring. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I think what I'll do is I'll just knit the inches, like a couple inches short of the end, obviously for toe, and then I'll put it on some longer cable needles and have them try them on to see where I'm at on it. And then the second one will be a lot easier because I'll already have it all measured. So what I do is I mark, actually you can't even really see, it's like blending in. I mark all of my rows so I can count, in that way I just know how many for the next sock and I don't have to remeasure again. And it's actually really great too, is that normally I don't have to measure ever again, like, because I already know, like mine is, I know the exact number of stitches I need for my foot. So eventually I'll get that way for Damon, but because this is like a heavier fingering, it's going to be a little different even on the next sock. But I love this colorway. It's actually really great because when I put it on the 72 stitches, the red was pooling. So it was like kind of like only in the back. And I'm like, well, I guess it's okay. It's a guy sock, whatever. And then I switched it to 64, and it magically like is perfectly. It's so funny how like just a few stitches difference like totally changes the pooling and stuff, which I think is awesome. So it worked out for this. There's like bits of brown and green and red. I love it. This one's called A Road Less Traveled. So I really like this one. Last time I think I was up to here. last time, and now I've gotten all the way down here. I turned the heel, fish lips kiss heel, and I've started the foot, which actually makes me feel pretty good. Now it's like smooth sailing. I just gotta like knit, which is actually really great. But that's all I got for that so far. Kate, what's your next whip?
So it's kind of a half finished object. So I had finished my first sock, which is a Valentine's sock.
Ooh, yeah, get up close. Let me see up close.
So
I lean in like I can see closer, but I can't.
So there. Yeah. So the pattern is the Green Dragon sock by Sock Witchery. So it's a textured sock. It's pretty simple texture. So the main color is a sock blank by Lamb Woman Knits, and it's called Galentine's Day, which I bought, I think it was probably 2019. And then the contrast color is actually Knit Pick Stroll. I love Stroll for contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs because it's soft but not super soft. So like if you don't want to feel like it's going to fall apart or anything, I have several colors of it for contrast heels, toes, and cuffs.
I was going to say, you Stroll a lot. You love Stroll.
Yep, I do. And so here's the rest of the sock blank, just to see what the colors I'm going.
Ooh, that's pretty. I like that one.
Yeah. So where I am right now, so the repeats of the pattern go, you're supposed to do 9 repeats to get of the leg. I'm on my 7th.
Okay, so you're almost done.
Yeah, for the leg, yeah. And then I did the a heel flap and gusset. I've never actually done a fish lips kiss heel, but you know, Kim's always motivated me, so eventually I'll do it. I just haven't gotten there yet.
I love it. Well, you're so good at the heel flap and gusset. Picking up stitches, ugh. Like I just don't like it. If I can get away with not doing it, I'll do anything I can and not have to pick up stitches.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I do is I always test by like pulling on the yarn whether it's going to make a hole. I also, like when I do it for underarms, I always just say, okay, I'll just fix it with extra yarn later. Like if there's a hole, I've actually gotten really good at fixing the hole.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah.
I like those socks. Those are bright. Those are totally Kate pink.
Yes. Talking about loving pink. So yeah, so I'm super close to getting to the heel flap. I might even get there today. We'll see. I love how you can keep the texture, but then it's just plain stockinette here. There,
yeah, I do feel that. That's the same thing for my Crunkled socks. It made the foot go by faster because you're only doing the pattern on the half anyway. So it's like, oh, smooth sailing.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about contrast heels, toes, and cuffs is you have more ends to weave in, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me a ton. I know some people, like Laura from the Knit Girls, she can't stand weaving in it. She always talks about that with Leslie on their podcast.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But so you know what I've never tried before, have you tried the weave in Steven method for weaving in ends?
No, I haven't.
I did it on the shawl right here actually, and that's why because there's just so many ends in that thing. But we did the weave in Steven method, so really there weren't that many at the very end, which was amazing. And I've always thought about trying to do it on socks, but I didn't know like how that would really, because I use a lot of those ends like on the heel if I'm using a contrast heel to close a hole or something, and if I already weave it in, I won't have it to close the hole. That's kind of my thing. But then it would make it, but I would totally do it maybe if like if I was using scrappy socks. So I think the first time I used scrappy socks, because I do not want to have to weave in every single end. That just looks crazy when people have all those ends on the inside. I'm like, no. Like I would totally do the weave in Steven method, I think, and see if that would work for scrappy socks. That'd probably be like a good idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, I'm keeping this, so we need to get in better light.
That's so pretty. If you get a little closer, it'll like.
There we go. That's a bit better. And actually, I want to show the little cute reindeer on this side. So this is actually from the Fiber Fox, who she's in the UK. She is a yarn dyer, but her mom, who I actually met when I was in Oxford, makes bags, and she sells them in the shop. So I love this. So because it has all these wintry things, and it has a reindeer, and I just love it.
It's very cute. I love that one.
Yeah.
All right, my last whip is more of a cross stitch. It's my cross stitch. So as I've seen shown before, this is what it's supposed to look like. Hot mess. And it's gonna go like, because normally I'm sitting here and Brooke's here. It's gonna go like somewhere here.
Behind Brooke.
It's gonna be where you'll still be able to see it like above, I don't know, where Brooke's head. Anyways, we have it all kind of, it's all messed up now because it's only one of us. But so I have I'm almost done with the words. I've got the O, I'm just starting the H. So almost done. I think I just saw, I'm gonna have to move this down a little bit to make it wider to fit the H. And then down here will be the flowers. That'll be the fun part, all the colorful, not that words aren't fun because you can see them happening, but it's like, it's all the same color and, you know, all the pretty, you know. And I use this cute little kit that I got at Needles in the Haymarket. I love this kit. And it came with everything. It even came with the needle and the ring, which, I mean, the less I have to go try to hunt down, the more I'm going to do it, basically. Because I used to cross stitch a lot back in the day before I was into knitting, and I just haven't done it. And I'm like, oh, it's a perfect one. I want to hang it right there. And it's going to be great. And I think this one actually has a whole bunch more. I think Marty was telling me, because she said there's even ones that she won't even have in the shop, because she was like, this is a family store. She's like, kids come in here. I'm not going to have some of these things in the cross stitch bin. So if you want to go online, I think it's this one, if not others, but they have like fun little sayings or whatever. And I like the fun play on sayings. And honestly, I say hot mess a lot, and I feel like I am a hot mess half the time. So I feel like that'd be perfect. Hang it right there. But I said this before, I use this background a little bit different. Actually, it's more like this for my work calls, because like just the way I have to move stuff around. I would probably have to take down hot mess for my work calls, because that's probably not professional, but we'll get there later. But yeah, so that's where I am now. I think last time I was like still finishing I was like here, like I had to finish this. So I'm just over here, because I just want to do all the knitting. This is why I don't do other hobbies. Like I want to read, I want to cross stitch, but I also work. So like I only have so many hours a day. I've got kids and a husband. So like I can only do so many of the hobbies, and I just want to knit all the time. Okay, so acquisitions, like my most fun section, because, you know, shopping. Now, I actually thought I wasn't going to have anything to show for this podcast, and I was really glad Kate was here, because maybe she could have something. But then magically things arrived in my mailbox. So today I actually got an order that I did place like a couple days ago. Actually, didn't I do it Thursday night for Whiskers and Stitches? Like while we're on
you were on knit night, and
yeah, it came super fast. So that one came. That's the only thing I actually bought in the last 2 weeks since we last recorded. Another thing just now shipped that I ordered like right after inauguration that I've been waiting on. So that one just arrived. So technically I haven't bought a lot. I just got my stitch markers, but I do want to show you guys, because Whiskers and Stitches just had her shop update Thursday. Today's Saturday. There's still plenty of stuff in the shop, but I want to show you the reason I look at the gummy bears, you guys. Oh my goodness.
So cute.
They look like in person, like I want to eat them, like they're gummy bears. And they're all the colors. And I just love them. They're going to be so cute. And I think I got the last set. I think another one of our friends got another set. Like I purposely went on there. I'm like, I need to buy it right now. She only has one more set left, but she did make an announcement yesterday that she's adding more. She added more gummy bear sets to the shop. So if you guys want to check that out,
I may need to eventually get a set.
They're so pretty. Now this one's like a little bit more of an expensive set. It's like $15, but because look how many you get. It's so great, because her ones that are singles are so affordable. So if you only have a few bucks to spend and you want a stitch marker, all of hers are great. The other set, which I don't know if I showed, because I got this a while ago. I don't know if I showed it. It's the horses one, but she switched it. She put them on like this row. I'm trying to like turn them all the same way. The horses set, oh my gosh, they're so cute. But she put them on like a rose gold, and I love the rose gold kind of look. So I have so many sets here. Like I don't even know. Like I never need this many at one time. Hardly, unless I'm doing something like that where he was like, you need 60 some odd stitch markers. I'm like, oh dang, I have to go get like all of my stitch markers. And then I also got this cute little moon. Obviously I have a moon-ish thing because I got the last moon that she had in there, and I saw this moon and I was like, yes, I need this moon. Like
So cute.
super sparkly. And then I got this little kitty cat. Oh my gosh, did you see these little kitties?
And the mouse.
No,
that kitty.
yeah, I
Oh.
don't know if it's focusing. It's like a cute little outline of a kitty with a little diamond face. Oh my gosh, so tiny and cute. And then, so before I had gotten the chicken, because she had the chickens from before, and I thought I had gotten the one with like the fixed. So anyways, she sent me two. I only ordered one, Holly. So she sent me these.
Oh.
I thought I had ordered this one last time and I wanted the snagless one. So I ordered the snagless one. And so she sent me both. Super adorable, which is actually perfect, Kate, because this morning I realized I actually already had the snagless one. I wanted this one and I forgot which one I had already got. And so I actually was like, oh man, I just reordered the same one. I'm like, oh well, I'll gift it or keep it, no problem, you know. And actually she sent me both, so I actually did get the one that I wanted. And I'm actually gonna keep this as since she gifted it to me, I'm gonna keep it as part of our giveaways for the podcast. So you guys send me a giveaway, this cute little chicken. It's like a ceramic chicken on a snagless. So cute, whiskers and stitches. So cute. Oh, and I almost forgot my little black, my bat, my melty bat. Little melty one. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be, which I like, and super light because they're the melties. But it's perfect for Halloween. I thought that'd be great for a little Halloween stitch marker. I really like that. But I think that's all of my, I got so many. Every time she has an update, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I mean, I do have a lot of projects I did at once. So, I mean, it's helpful to have, you know, more than one or tons of them or whatever. But I love these little sets that she has. I now have 3 sets, like 3 with multiple sets. I need to stop. I have a problem. I have a problem with those. But okay, what's your first acquisition, Kate?
Lola Bean Yarn Company, who is Adela. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you definitely need to, because she is amazing. She's an amazing person. I love everything she says. Like, you know, she is a real person who says everything, doesn't sugarcoat it. Everyone should follow her. She did a collaboration with Ken Yarn. So it was a Heroes and Villains collab. So she had Tiana.
Okay, put it up close.
So it's Tiana, and then Dr. Facilier, and
that's pretty.
There's her logo. It's her daughter Lola, who is so adorable. Everyone loves Lola. Like, you can't not love Lola. So I am a huge Princess and the Frog fan. Like, that's one of my top Disney movies. And Facilier is my favorite villain. I don't know what it is, but he's just great villain. But I saw it and I was like, I have to have it. I got the DK version. So I've been thinking I'll end up making a shawl out of it. I was actually thinking about doing an interlock shawl. Like making up like a little bit of a pattern myself, because it's not that hard to just adjust interlock. So I was thinking I'd do that.
I've never tried interlock yet.
I took a class at Needles on it.
That's right. She did have a class on that. Oh my gosh. They have great classes.
Yeah. So I love them. So I'm excited.
I love that. So what is it? What's the DK base made of?
Let's see. This is a 75-25 actually. So 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon DK.
DK, yeah, that's awesome.
And then this same, it's a 75 merino, 25% nylon DK. So awesome. You could technically make DK weight socks, but I just think they deserve to be in a shawl together or something.
They're so pretty. Those colors are awesome. Yeah, I agree. Those would be nice. Okay, and then my last acquisition that I ordered for, there's this new design by Romy Designs called the Inauguration Shawl, and she went and collabed with Chicken Coop Dyeworks. Look, oh my goodness, you guys. The bluest blue and the deepest red, and then a combination. I mean, I'm gonna split this up. Okay, this is her foghorn base. It's Chicken Coop Dyeworks. There's the like label. Out of Texas. And this is, all 3 of them are on the foghorn base, and it's fingering, but it's 75-25. superwash merino and 20% nylon. This one is called Singed Red Tomatoes. I mean, just look at the deepness and like the tonal.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully red. And that the camera is actually capturing it really well. Like, it's so awesome. And I don't normally buy red because, you know, I don't like use it a whole lot because, you know, I don't too much. But it's like this really creates and the inauguration shawl by Romy Designs is like, it's made to look like that Americana bunting, you know, and it's so cool, like with the red and the blue. And this blue, I mean, when I opened it, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it is so blue. And it's just like tonal, and so it's like the deepest ocean. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And this one's called Danube. And then this one is a mixture of both. It is called E Pluribus Unum. And you actually can see where there's purple because I think the blue and the red, I don't know if she added the purple or if the blue and the red met and created the purple, but it's so cool because like from far away, it'll look more of like a white with some speckles, but like when you get up close, you're going to see that the sections of the bunting that's white is going to have like a mixture. It's so pretty. And when I opened the package, I was like, oh, it smells really good. It like came with like a little lavender sash of like inside the plastic bag with it. So the yarn smells amazing. And
I love lavender.
Yes, it's so nice. It's only like a nice little extra that I've actually never seen someone send with their yarn or whatever. So Chicken Coop Dyeworks, go check them out. What's your last acquisition, Kate?
So like we mentioned that Kenny is a big enabler. And so I went to Needles I was going to get a book that Marty had pre-ordered called Strands of Joy. It's by Anna Joanna, or at least it's her name on Instagram. It's a whole color workbook, and it has a variety of different weights. So if you don't like fingering sweaters, and there's like heavier ones, but if you're like me and I knit a lot of fingering weight sweaters, then there's plenty in there. So I went in and they discounted some Kim Dye's yarn.
Oh my goodness. I love Kim Dye.
And this is called Don't Be Coy. So, because it looks like a koi fish. And I love koi fish. This is on her Philo sock, which is a MCN, a merino cashmere nylon. So it's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. So it'll make a nice, soft, squishy sweater. I'm thinking it may end up being color work. I'll see. It's got 400 yards for 103 grams. So it's a bit of a heavier fingering weight. We'll see if I do, I'll probably do something like with the blue, or maybe the orange if I'm being adventurous. I'm not a very, orangey person.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely not either. So that actually works out. Whenever I see stuff on their discount, it's like a discount, like gondola. They call it the gondola. And all their discount is 40% off, no matter what it is. I'm like, there's indie dyed yarn on the discount gondola. Yep. It's like, so whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, I gotta go look at it. Cause like, I just need, and I've bought Jersey Cat on there before and Shalimar. And I'm just like, Jersey Cat's on the clearance rack. That's crazy. And then sometimes there's even a more of like a Black Friday or other sales.
60%.
They increase it to 60% off. I'm like, okay, so this is a time where if you can't really afford dyed yarn, it's a perfect time to go in there and get it. Now, they do have a great online shop, Needles in the Haymarket, but the clearance gondola is not on there. So you have to go in person. But I think we're done with like the knitting portion, right?
Yep, I think we're done with knitting.
All right, so let's just go ahead and talk about, I know I don't have any books I've been reading because all I do is knit. But I know you have a new book, right, Kate?
Yes, I just finished. So Laura the Knit Girls recommended this because she reads a lot of young adult and also middle grade because she's a librarian. She recommended Clap When You Land. The main story is a lot about grief and how different people process grief differently. I did listen to it on audiobook. A lot of times I'll listen to audiobooks driving to and from work, or like when I'm getting ready for bed. That's a lot of times when I either listen to my podcasts or when I listen to an audiobook. The book I actually am listening to right now, A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second one of A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is an adult fantasy novel about the series is about fairies, and about a human who ends up going in to live in the fairy world, basically. So, and that one, that's by Sarah J. Maas. I cannot remember who wrote Clap When You Land. Clap When You Land is also interesting because it's written in verse. So it's not full on poetry, but it has a flow to it that, you know, compared to prose.
I need to start reading. I read a lot when we were commuting into the city, but I telework now for now anyways. I want to start maybe, like I knit all the time now, like when I'm not working, like whenever I can. So I normally knit before bed, but now maybe I'll like set aside like a half hour to just like read, like right before I go to sleep. That might be like a way I can get in. Cause I got so many books I want to read, but I just don't have the time. Maybe I should like force myself. I don't know. We'll see.
You have to do everything at your own pace right now. It's a pandemic.
That's true. So have you been watching? I have been watching my same podcast as normal, Kate. Do you have any others that I don't normally mention that you love?
So the one that you don't watch, but Laura and I do, is the Happy Knitting podcast. She is from Germany. Her name's Julia, but she lives in the UK. She just moved actually only, I want to say it was like late last year. So it was like October last year in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh my.
And she just had a baby last July. But she's a really prolific knitter, like, and she inspires Lorelai a lot to do things. Like she learned color work with Julia, basically, like at the same time.
That's awesome.
But she's my age, and she's just very, she's fun to listen to. Like she also just will be like, oh, I just did this. Like, you know, she's one of those knitters that just knows what she likes. So, she is more sporadic right now with when she records because she does have a, you know, newborn son. Well, a young son, a toddler son. We'll call him toddler.
I had her on my list to watch. I think she might be on there. She's not one of the ones. Like I only have so much time to watch podcasts, and so I always like am drawn to the ones I always normally watch, and I try to start new ones. And I think she's definitely on my list to check out for sure. Yeah,
she's fun to listen to. I am enjoying Happy Knits. You know, Yolanda and Jordan are hilarious. Like I love listening to them.
I'm sure if you're watching, Yolanda, we love you. I can't. And then I just love her. Love Happy Knits. I watch the Crazy Talk Lady because she does, which is nice because she does post regularly. She posts every week, so it's always one to look forward to. And she knits so many socks, and she always has so many goodies to show. That's why I like it. We've both been watching Discovery of Witches. Okay, so Kate's read the books. I have not read the books, so Kate can talk in more detail about things. But Discovery of Witches, I love, and I'm actually not caught up. Are you caught up yet? I'm like
no. So I was supposed to watch it today with my bestie, but she is actually in the middle of helping her parents move. So yeah, so we'll try and catch up, but I'm 2 episodes behind now. So I think
I'm not that far away from you because I realized, which my husband, who's watching it with me, she actually said that it's nice when we have a whole bunch built up to watch because when you get into one, you want to keep going. Like you want to keep watching it. So like one at a time. So we actually like to kind of skip some weeks, and that way we have quite a bit built up. And he's actually been out of town this whole last week for work, and he comes back today. So he's like, oh, do we have anything to watch tonight when I get home? I was like, Discovery of Witches? We have 3, I think. So we're really excited to watch those tonight. That'll be fun. Yeah. But I love that show. And I when I first watched it, I loved it. And then 2 years later, and then we were at knit night, and Kate's like, did you see Discovery of Witches season 2? I was like, what? It's been 2 years. I didn't even think they were going to do it again. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so and Kim knows this, I've been a fan for years. My mom actually was the one who introduced me to it.
Are there 3 books?
There are 3 initial books, which are all from Diana's point of view. But then now she's also published a 4th, which is from Marcus's point of view. And Marcus is Matthew's son, and who's the main male character. And he was actually made a vampire during the Revolutionary War. So it's about him and what caused him to be the way he is in terms of why he's kind of more of a rebellious spirit. And she's tying in the American Revolution, the French Revolution. So it was an interesting read. But anyway, so I'm a huge Discovery Witches fan. I love Deb Harkness. She's the author. I've met her 3 times. I just love her.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I think that's all we're here to talk about, right, Kate?
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate having you on. We'll have you on again if that's okay later. Yeah. And until then, everybody at home, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.